If I'm cold, you're probably cold.
Well, I purposely put like sweater on.
Well, look, t-shirt, long sleeve shirt,
I
sweater.
don't blame you.
I
Probably
can't,
regret I did.
I can't stand the fucking, I can't stand the cold. Anyway. We'll now call the meeting into open session. The committee will convene an executive session in main office conference room, 6 p.m. pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 5 for the purpose of discussion EPEA cost share grievance and proposed resolution pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A9, discussion non-certified employee termination pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A1, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A1, any persons being discussed or affected were given advance notice of the executive meeting in writing and advised that they may require such discussion be held at an open meeting. No request has been made. With that said, I will entertain a motion to go into executive.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
was fatter, I was fine, but now.
Yeah. There's
So,
no little.
we will now call the meeting back into order. Pledge allegiance and a moment of silence. There were no votes taken in executive session, and I will entertain a motion to seal the executive minutes.
I'll make a motion to seal the executive session minutes.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Student liaison, Hope Moran.
Awesome. Thank you. And good evening. I am here to share an update on what's been happening in our school community over this past month. Starting with overall atmosphere, there's been an incredible positive energy throughout the building as we settle deeper into the year. Students are motivated, staff is engaged, and school-wide momentum has been nothing short of encouraging. Recent events in student life. The sophomore car wash was a great success and helped kick off fundraising efforts for the year. We also hosted our annual Meet the Teachers Night and saw a great family turnout and great conversations between parents and staff. We had outstanding participation in the blood drive, with students and staff stepping up in large numbers to support the community. Our military appreciation football game held support from the JORTC program and was a powerful moment of school pride and gratitude for our service members. Additionally, the Color Run brought together students from all grades for a fun and energetic fundraiser for class committees. Spirit Week kept the building buzzing with themed days, competitions, and plenty of townie pride as we geared up for our sold-out homecoming football game and, of course, the homecoming dance, which was tons of fun. Our talent show also brought out incredible creativity and school spirit, with students from all grades showcasing everything from music to comedy to dance. And this month, we proudly welcomed our new members of the National Honor Society during a meaningful and well-attended induction ceremony. Athletics and activities. It's been an especially exciting month for East Providence athletics. Our fall sport teams continue to perform high levels, showcasing dedication, teamwork, and strong school spirit. Our football team had a successful end to the season, but just falling short to SK in a tight semifinal matchup. Girls tennis lost in a tough loss to Rogers in semifinals. Boys and girls soccer both fell short in penalty kicks in semifinals, but neither teams went down without a fight. Girls volleyball had an awesome season and battled a nail-biting championship game, ultimately falling short to NK 1-3. Cross country sent 3 individuals to the state meet. Unified basketball had an exceptional season, demonstrating the heart of our community through sportsmanship, teamwork, and joy in competition, all while taking home the championship win in a 3-setter match. Cheer also took home the state title, an incredible achievement that reflects months of hard work, leadership from both athletics and coaches. Across all sports, our athletes have represented East Providence with pride, discipline, and a strong sense of community. On the activities side, DECA had a great month with over 40 members attending the Fall Leadership Conference and representing East Providence extremely well as they received the Presidential Diamond Award for largest chapter growth in the entire state. Looking ahead, we're excited to host our Townie Bazaar this Saturday at the high school, featuring local vendors, student-made goods, and a great opportunity to support our community as we head into the holiday season. It's been an outstanding month filled with achievement, spirit, and community connection, and we are incredibly proud of our students and grateful for the ongoing support from teachers, coaches, staff, families, and the entire Townie community. Thank you for your time and continued support.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Presentation, Rhode Island Department of Health.
It's closer, can you hear me now? Okay. My center chief, Center for Health Promotion Chief Tara Cooper is here supporting me tonight. Pat, next slide, please. So we'll start with an overview of the tobacco control program and some of the trends we see. Then we'll talk about 100% tobacco-free schools and the impact of alternative to suspension programs. Next slide. So first, a little bit about the tobacco control program at RIDO, or TCP. As of now, the tobacco control program is a comprehensive team made up of 7 members. Our program manager oversees and directs the program. We have a nicotine substance use and addiction coordinator who oversees the state quit line and focuses on nicotine addiction in adults. Our community and equity coordinator works in the community to eliminate tobacco-related disparities. We have a policy and partnership specialist who supports policy efforts in the state. And we also have an epidemiologist and a communications coordinator. My role as the Youth and Young Adults Coordinator is to work towards accomplishing our goals as they relate to our youth and young adult initiatives. So TCP's mission is to protect and promote health, prevent chronic disease and death in all Rhode Islanders using a comprehensive approach to reduce tobacco initiation, use, and exposure to secondhand and third-hand smoke. Our goals are to eliminate exposure to secondhand smoke, promote quitting among adults and youth, prevent initiation among youth and young adults, and to identify and eliminate tobacco-related disparities. The tobacco control program aims to educate youth and young adults on the harms associated with tobacco use and nicotine addiction, and in doing so, we hope to arm them with the skills they need to respond to peer pressure when they are presented with an opportunity to use tobacco. Additionally, it is our goal to make evidence-based resources readily accessible to youth in need of them once they decide they are ready to use them. So in the next few slides, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but want to share the highlights for your understanding of the trends in the state. The data I'm going to share comes from the Rhode Island Youth Behavior Risk Survey and the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System. About 1 in 3 high school youth report having tried electronic nicotine delivery systems, or ENDS for short, which is a fancy way to say vapes. About 1 in 6 are current users, and about 1 in 20 high school youth report frequent use, which is defined as using the product at least 20 of the past 30 days. Middle school use is concerning as they have use levels similar to adult ENDS use, but we will see in the next slide this is rising. And as you can see, high school ENDS use is similar to adult cigarette use. Perhaps most importantly, of youth who report use, 62% report wanting to quit. On this slide, we can see the trends over time from 2015 to 2023. The slide seems to be missing the lines. ENDS use peaked in 2019 among high school youth and seems to be on the decline thanks to youth-focused policies and efforts, but of concern is the bump up in middle school use, which speaks to the need for prevention education. On this side, we can see that high school students reporting cannabis use and ENDS use are similar, and as we go to the next slide, we will see how this plays out as dual use. So this slide shows youth in Rhode Island who reported current ENDS use that also report using cannabis and smoking cigarettes. Our data supports what is known nationally about nicotine and cannabis often being used together or dual use, and highlights that cigarette smoking is not out of fashion or dying off. In Rhode Island, among current end users, 88.33% of youth report ever using cannabis or trying it at least once, and 74% or 3/4 of them report current dual use or using both within the past 30 days. And of those high school students reporting ends use, 13.5% report current cigarette use. So I wanted to also bring up emerging products fueling youth use. As we know, nicotine is a toxic, highly addictive drug that can harm brain development, which continues until around age 25. Nicotine can alter developing brains to become more susceptible to addiction for any substance, and nicotine itself has been linked to various cancers. Nicotine pouches like Zyn, Velo, or On have flooded the market, becoming the second most used tobacco product among middle and high school students after ends. Use among 10th and 12th graders doubled from 1.3% in 2023 to 2.6% in 2024. And 3.6% of teens report using both ends and nicotine pouches, which raises additional concerns about addiction. Nicotine pouches are commonly marketed at strengths of 3, 6, 8, and 12 milligrams per pouch, but they can contain as high as 50 milligrams, and they are available in a wide range of fruity flavors to help their appeal to youth. A little over 126 million units were sold between August and December of 2019. Between January and March of 2022, in just about 2.5 years' time, sales had increased by over 6 times, with over 808 million units sold. Pouches with higher nicotine content sold more rapidly than those with lower nicotine content, which speaks to how highly addictive they are. And more recently, total nicotine pouch sales increased by 207% between January 23 and April of 25, from $145.5 million to $446.8 million. Zyn, being the most popular, has an entire culture associated with their product, from the fictional utopia Zimbabwe to Zinfluencers, who flood social media promoting use and even creating Zyn challenges. I included a few TikTok posts on this slide, which, as you can see, are clearly quite concerning. And to be clear, nicotine pouches are not an FDA-approved form of cessation. Another disturbing emerging product is smart vapes. Smart vapes are available in abundance of flavors and various forms, but typically include a display screen and offer smartphone features such as games, photo wallpaper, touchscreen, Bluetooth capability, etc. These devices are especially concerning as the games typically offer rewards for increased puff counts, which could easily fast-track serious nicotine addiction and lung damage. In 2024, 5.8% of middle and high school students who said they used e-cigarettes in the past 30 days, so about 90,000 youth, reported using the smart vape Geek Bar. Geek Bar is just one of many, many smart vapes on the market. These devices range in nicotine content and offer anywhere from 20,000 to 100,000 puffs. Smart vapes are not legal in the US, however, they are very easily obtained from the internet. I pulled these images from some of the many websites out there, and where anyone of any age with access to a form of electronic payment can order them, even in bulk. We know that the internet is the most common source for youth to obtain ENDS products. Upon visiting these websites, you'd be asked to confirm that you are 21 or older by clicking on a button. It's that simple. The 2 smart vapes pictured on this slide were priced at $8.95 and $15.99, so not an unobtainable cost for youth. Additionally, vaping devices are becoming very easy to hide. They are being disguised as key fobs, AirPods, lip balm, highlighters, markers, and more. There are even sweatshirts that make it easy for students to hide vaping right in class. Both nicotine and cannabis vapes are available disguised as other objects. So counterfeit ends raise serious concern. In addition to the thousands of toxic chemicals and heavy metals found in vaping devices, counterfeit vapes have been found to contain other drugs, including fentanyl. Across the country, kids have overdosed and some have died from fentanyl. They had no idea they were vaping. I wanted to mention this because, as you can see in the picture on the slide, it can be very difficult to tell the difference between a vaping device from an authorized retailer and a counterfeit one. Counterfeit vapes are easily obtainable over the internet, and identifying whether the website is connected to an authorized retailer may not be easy. Counterfeit devices are often sold over the internet for significantly low prices, which could be especially appealing to youth. The two pictures on the right are of counterfeit devices that were turned in by students from 2 Rhode Island middle schools at presentations I had the pleasure of attending. So one way that schools can address vaping is to transition to 100% tobacco-free. Supporting K-12 schools in their transition to tobacco-free campuses is one of my favorite initiatives, so much so that I would love nothing more than to see every school in the state make this incredibly meaningful and impactful change. Becoming 100% tobacco-free school requires updating existing smoke-free policies with language that encompasses all tobacco and nicotine products, including emerging products. TCP worked with Tobacco Free Rhode Island, the American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, and Rhode Island Student Assistance Services to develop a ready-to-use drop-in model policy, and we made it easily accessible and free for all K-12 schools. The model policy contains the updated language that covers future emerging products. The policy is available in both Word and PDF format, so schools can edit the language as they see fit. I actually included a copy of this policy in the folders. The next step to becoming 100% tobacco-free school is to replace suspension for tobacco possession with an evidence-based alternative to suspension program. The model policy outlines a number of different alternative to suspension options so schools can choose programs and practices that work best for them. We understand that not every school has the same needs and resources, and that administrators and educators are very busy addressing many more issues than just tobacco. One of our highest priorities is to make supporting students as easy as possible for educators and administrators, and this is at the forefront of every resource or tool that we create or recommend. With that said, in a couple more slides, I'll talk about an alternative to suspension program that we highly recommend. The next step would be to communicate to the school community that the campus is tobacco-free by posting signs. We have plenty of indoor and outdoor tobacco-free campus signs in both English and Spanish. They are free to all schools in Rhode Island and may easily be ordered through the Tobacco Control Program website, again, free of charge. Posting them at all the entryways and anywhere the public may convene, such as where sporting events take place, lets everyone know that modeling tobacco-free behavior for students is a priority. And the last step is making cessation resources available to students, staff, and families, anyone in need of them, which I will share more about in just a few more slides as well. One of the best places to put quit resources for students is in the bathrooms on the inside of the stall doors. Students are more likely to take a picture of the information or use a QR code when they can do so privately without fear of judgment. Replacing smoke-free policies with an updated tobacco-free policy will help to create a healthier, more supportive environment for students unfairly targeted by the tobacco industry. So use of punitive measures like suspension and expulsion has nearly tripled over recent decades, but has proven and have proven ineffective in addressing student tobacco use. Such exclusionary disciplinary actions often lead to negative consequences, including poor academic achievement, decreased school engagement, disrupted student-teacher relationships, and heightened risk for future substance use and contact with the criminal justice system. During the 23 to 24 school year, nearly 10% of suspensions in Rhode Island were linked to substance use, representing almost 1,700 students who could have benefited from education about tobacco and nicotine rather than being removed from school. Research shows that even brief suspensions, 1 to 3 days, increase the likelihood of experimenting with substances such as nicotine, THC, and alcohol. Suspension also fails to address the root cause of nicotine addiction while exacerbating chronic absenteeism and academic decline. In contrast, alternative to suspension programs provide evidence-based educational responses that promote positive behavior change. These programs keep students engaged in the school community, improve academic outcomes, and foster inclusion and belonging. According to the Center for Disease Control and the American Academy of Pediatrics, counseling and educational interventions are the most effective strategies for tobacco cessation among youth. Both organizations recommend reserving suspension for serious or violent offenses and prioritizing restorative educational approaches. By replacing punitive discipline with supportive educational programs, schools can enhance overall climate, increase academic success, and reduce future substance use, while helping students develop healthier coping mechanisms and stronger school connections. And you remember from my previous slide that 62% of youth reported wanting to quit. This is one way schools can support that without interruption in education and improve school environment and outcomes. So Healthy Futures is an evidence-based alternative to suspension program developed by Stanford University and is available in a nicotine version and a cannabis version. I'm here to talk to you about the nicotine version, but I'm mentioning the cannabis version because I have been approached by many educators in need of a program that addresses vaping cannabis. We saw this in the data slides on substance use and dual use. Both programs are structured the same, with the only difference being the educational content. Healthy Futures is completely free and provides free access to a data dashboard that allows for tracking student progress by the facilitator, administrators, or even on a district level if desired. It requires very little preparation from the facilitator, which certainly helps with time constraints and offers free training. Additional resources are available on the website and include a cost calculator for nicotine and cannabis so students can see how much money they actually spend and what they could save. Print out infographics and flyers, quit tips for nicotine and cannabis, and editable letters to inform parents about the program in both English and Spanish. Another unique feature of Healthy Futures is that it offers 3 levels of intervention. A common question I've heard from educators is, what do I do if this is the second or third time that the student has been caught? This program has the answer. Another key highlight that sets Healthy Futures apart from other alternative to suspension programs is the responsiveness of the program creators. Stanford's Director of Outreach and Strategic Partnerships is happy to jump on a call with anyone who has questions about the program anytime. He personally walked me through the various ways of signing up for access to the data dashboard, always responds to any emails or inquiries in a timely manner, and has been nothing but professional, courteous, and supportive, which is especially important to me because it was challenging for me to really dive deep into these programs without students to work with and test them out with. So My Healthy Futures is a self-paced lesson that uses motivational interviewing and cognitive behavioral therapy to help students understand the harms of tobacco and nicotine, identify reasons for use, cope with stress, and find resources to help with quitting. It is an interactive educational game presented in a video game-like format that is best used for first-time infractions. Rather than facing suspension, a student who was caught vaping would be assigned to meet with their student assistance counselor, guidance counselor, dean of students, or whatever educator or administrator is facilitating the program. The student would complete the program within 40 to 60 minutes, at which time the facilitator could then use the provided follow-up talking points to have a follow-up discussion with the student. Although the student does not need to complete the program all at once. Should the student not have a full 40 to 60 minutes to dedicate at one time, the program will save progress for the student to pick back up when they are able to. And once a student completes the program, the facilitator will automatically be emailed a certificate of completion for that student. My Healthy Futures is available in English and Spanish and offers closed captioning in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Dutch, and more languages are on the way. I'd also like to mention that those students are asked to enter their name upon logging into this program. Stanford does not have access to that information. It is coded in a way that allows only the person who assigned the program to the student to see the student's name so that they can track their progress. All student data is completely protected. And in the last slide, I mentioned data may be tracked by administrators, and even on a district level, they would have access to pre and post data, but not the student's name. Our Healthy Futures is a facilitator-led curriculum available in 2- and 4-hour versions that can be used with one student or a group. This program can be used to address initial or subsequent tobacco policy violations, though it is most commonly used if further intervention is needed after My Healthy Futures. The 4-hour version builds upon the 2-hour version and incorporates more individual introspection and group discussion if group setting is used. Typically, a first violation would complete My Healthy Futures, a second violation would complete Our Healthy Futures 2-hour version, which can also be done in increments rather than 2 hours or all at once. And then a third or more violation would complete the 4-hour version, which again could be done in increments. The great thing about this program is that it is very flexible and can be tailored to meet the needs of the facilitator as well as the student. And again, all resources have English and Spanish options. The My Life, My Quit program is a voluntary intervention for individual students. It is evidence-based, completely free, and confidential. It is available to any Rhode Island residents, ages 13 to 17, whether insured or uninsured, and is specially tailored for teens' unique needs and challenges. Teens can call, text, chat, or download the app to connect with a live tobacco treatment specialist who is trained in coaching youth. My Life, My Quit is the only cessation program where a live treatment specialist is available to coach the client, and the coaches are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coaches work with teens to build a personalized quit plan and talk with them about ways to implement their plan that will be successful for them. Promotional and educational materials are available, as well as resources for parents and guardians by visiting the My Life, My Quit website. This program is for every student using tobacco or nicotine products, whether seen or unseen. School administrators, educators, and healthcare providers can help youth by making My Life, My Quit information readily available to them to allow students to refer themselves to the program when they feel they are ready. I've included links to all the resources that I've discussed and more on this slide, and will certainly share the slides out with the group or anyone who's interested. Questions?
I'm sure that somebody must have a question. I know I do. Yeah, you can go right. Yep. First of all, thank you so much for that presentation. Really appreciate it. One of the questions I had is with regards to some of the policies, do you have like sample policies or policies that have been successful in other school districts that you might be able to share with us?
Yes, in your folder.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Oh, so
That
that's
was
in there.
the model policy that I spoke of.
Okay, all right, excellent. And you had alluded to that signage being free to order?
Yes.
And that's through the website?
Yes, through the Department of Health website,
Department of
Tobacco
Health
Control
website.
Program.
Okay. And Dr. Fran, I believe I just asked you, we don't have an updated policy, tobacco?
I don't believe it's updated.
Updated, okay.
Not this.
And to your knowledge, we don't have that signage that says we're a tobacco-free school?
We have some, but not extensively, like, so we will order some.
Yeah, you're welcome to order as many as you need.
Excellent, thank you. And we would be able to put that signage not only at the high school, but both of our middle schools as well, correct? Okay. Excellent. Any other questions from the committee? Jim?
I just wanted to thank you for coming out. In the past, we were awarded many grants to adopt the model policy, but implementation support from Rhode Island Department of Health was limited. So has that changed, or
With the loss of the Office of Smoking and Health under the CDC, yes, we're currently unsure of the funding landscape for the near future.
Also, do you have examples of districts that have implemented the model the policy? Or
There are, I don't know of every school in the state that has implemented, but I am aware of quite a few because the policy is available on various websites for anyone to download and use. But I know that Charahoe has used it and they've had great success with it, and South County was using it. South County was actually working with us on a pilot study, and we're hoping that by April of next year, we'll have some data on the entire county using alternative to suspension programs.
My last question is there a way to integrate our local prevention coalitions into implementing this as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I definitely reach out to your prevention coalitions. They are huge support. I've worked with prevention coalitions along with American Heart Association, American Lung, to work on that policy, the model policy.
Thank you.
I have a question. Has there been any of these studies taken at the amount of time in the districts that implement this? Like say if, we assign 10, 12 kids to these programs to go see the dean, in other words, would this program work? In other words, if our staff in this building doesn't have 2 hours per day free, how do we approach a new implement like this to say, okay, you may have to start dealing with 5, 8, 10 kids per day for a half hour per day? Is there a study on if the district catches 10, 12 kids per week, how many man-hours are assigned to this?
So the case study that we're working with South County might have some more information on that. What I've heard from schools that have used alternative to suspension programs is there's typically, if it's the dean or a student assistance counselor, a lot of the times is the person who will work with the students. And if there are a lot of students being assigned to the program, then the student assistance counselor or guidance counselor or dean might decide to do the program in groups. Some schools in South Counties had a lot of success doing the program in groups. Others decided that they liked it better with one-on-one with students. Again, it depends on the capacity of the school and the counselors.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate it. Next item.
District recognition.
It's a video.
Hey Enzo, what does it mean to be a good teammate?
We do save hands, we behave, and we listen. Be kind, be helpful, and listen to your teachers. It means to be respectful, kind, and stay on task so that everybody can win. Yeah. A good teammate being good because you can help someone and you to be kind to the person.
Yeah. Jarek, what does it mean to be a good teammate?
Be kind and be safe.
Yeah.
What it means to be a good teammate is when it's good to be a good teammate, it'll help people, respect people, and be kind.
And what does it mean to be a good teammate?
It means to it means to like have leadership, help others, and make sure your team stays together.
I love that. What's it mean to be a good teammate, Grayson?
Being respectful.
Love that. Being inclusive. Awesome response. Eamon, what does it mean to be a good teammate?
Doing teamwork.
Yeah, doing teamwork, right?
Being kind.
And being kind.
I just wanted to thank Karen Rebello for spearheading that, and for Jill Usinia is the one that is putting the videos together for us monthly, so, and to all the principals for submitting the different activities that they have taking place.
Thank you, Karen. Excellent job.
I also want to thank Karen for helping me with my idea and making it reality, so thank you.
Next item.
Consent agenda.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I will second with a comment. Previous practices for retirements, we've acknowledged them with a small blip of how long they've been with us, what they've done for the school district. So we have a handful of longtime employees on the retirements this month. So if we could, in the springtime, take a list of all of our employees' retirements and proceed with the past practice of acknowledging them and the hard work that they've put forth in our district. On that note, I will second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Superintendent's report.
That's you, Doc.
Good evening, everyone. So I was asked to give an update regarding some of the special ed work that has gone on and where we are today. As of today, we have 1,117 IEPs in the district. 23% of our students are identified as having special education needs. Much of our focus work in the last year has been at the elementary. 497 students at the elementary level have IEPs. About 200 are in the gen ed setting with resource support. 100 plus students are speech and or related services only. 148 of our elementary students are in more specialized settings, more intensive settings. Right now we have 4 general self-contained, 4 bridge programs, 2 programs to support behavior, and 4 functional living and learning classrooms. Our incoming kindergarten was 83 students, which is a huge volume. 37 of those 83 students required a more specialized intensive setting, and 6 required settings outside of the district because the needs were so great. We did a lot of work after January of last year in really paying attention and being intentional in our planning for students moving into kindergarten from pre-K, and we created some tools to assist in that. Overall, teachers, principals, the special educators felt that that was a huge addition and a very positive support as we place kids going into the kindergarten. The volume of the needs can be overwhelming. This is a huge kindergarten class, and the needs were extensive. So the volume can be overwhelming, but overall, teachers were very satisfied with what we did in terms of redefining or more closely defining our programs and placing students accordingly. Teachers are asking for more time to collaborate with their co-teachers and colleagues, and then in order to be able to support those students even better in their classrooms. So that's kind of the overall redesign there. We're working with principals to look at schedules to accommodate some of the things that teachers have identified as what they need. We did put out a survey back at the end of the school year, and so we did get a lot of input from special educators and administrators about how we would move forward. Regarding the special ed advisory goals and the advisory committee, we'll meet in January. I think we have a really good movement in terms of meeting these goals. There were really 4 that the advisory committee put forward. One was to establish and implement guidelines for MTSS that explicitly define and consider the relationship between MTSS and special education. That is ongoing work. None of the goals that were set are things that are kind of one and done, but they are long-term projects, but gives us a direction to focus on. The second was to create a decision-making framework to assist IEP teams in making informed decisions. The screener that we designed and devised and implemented as a pilot this past year, last year, was really conducive and helped support that particular goal. So I feel like that one's nearly met. I think we need to train a few more people on utilizing that particular tool. We have a goal to reduce the number of students that we have in self-contained settings. The national average is at about 15%, and we are, as a district, over 20%, and at the elementary alone, we're at 40%. So that's extraordinarily high. And the other goal that we're undertaking, work we're doing, is really looking at schedules of special educators and how they can support those kids with more intensive needs. Not only schedules to support students, but also for them to be able to support each other in coming together to collaborate and work together for better outcomes for students. So in terms of the audit recommendations, there were 10. We highlighted 4, which was a placement framework, which I think that we've done a great job with, MTSS, which will be ongoing, purposeful collaboration, and quality inclusion. Addressing the inclusion and the collaboration is work that we're doing with principals and schedules and special educator schedules to make sure that they have those opportunities throughout the day. The other pieces and the other 6 recommendations really do hinge on those 4 major areas of improvement that we've identified. So overall, I would say that the feedback from the field has been very positive in terms of the things that we put in place in, the winter and spring of last year. And right now, we're evaluating and, looking to refine and even improve what we did do. So overall, things are pretty positive. I think that feedback to Sandy was also that it was a better transition year than we've had in the past. So are there any questions that I could answer for you?
Any questions from the committee? Go ahead, Jess.
So the 40% at the elementary level is quite staggering. How are we going, other than recommendations from teachers, how are we going to improve or work on this goal on how to reduce this number? Is that something that will be worked on or is currently being worked on, or is this something that we're going to be working on in the future?
Both.
Okay.
Both. We are currently working on it. Sandy and I were talking earlier today, and when I was a resource teacher and she was a resource teacher way back when, our caseloads were in the 30s as a resource teacher. That is not the case now. Their caseloads are much lower. So what we're asking them to do is actually help support the self-contained special educators in actually providing opportunities for quality inclusion so that the self-contained teacher wouldn't be the sole provider, but that the resource teachers would also help to include students. It's a big mind shift, for that because kids that have historically been in self-contained settings did not necessarily go into, say, the grade 3 or whatever. They did a lot of specials, but we'd like to see them push into the core. And the more access they have and the more experience they have in the core does research supports across the board. It does improve their outcomes, it improves their scores, it improves their learning. So it's both and.
Just to add to that, I also think it's more professional development for teachers. I think it's also, we're looking at our MTSS framework, so it's tier 1 instruction so that, we're closing gaps before, like students are getting into self-contained classes or addressing gaps earlier and providing supports for tier 2 and tier 3. So I think we're coming at this from a lot of different directions, and I think we need to. The needs are certainly greater than we've ever seen them. And, we've had some promising information from our pre-K this year with all the work that they're doing.
I'm not going to lie, I happened to go to that school, and the concern was last year we knew we were going to have, at least my conversations with the principal at that school, there were some behavioral issues and some issues, IEP issues that needed to be addressed. Going forward, are we preparing for next year that we may have the total of 83 kindergartners again that are going to be in need of special education?
I don't think the numbers are as high as what they were. Just looking at what I actually was looking at some of those numbers earlier. We have 83 kindergartners, and right now we have, I think it was 98 actual 3, 4, and 5-year-olds who may not be in kindergarten yet. So that's over 3 years, so only one cohort will move forward. This year was just particularly high, and our heavy concentration are actually grades K, 1, 2, and 3. Those numbers, so for instance, K is 83, 1 is 91, so 2 is 81, and 3 is 93. From there, grade 4 is 70, 78, 67, 82, and on, on up the grades. So this just happens to be a very heavy 3-year cohort in terms of numbers.
My other question is, based on the school committee, we have to put forth a budget, and I feel like the necessity of these numbers in order to get students included in classrooms may need to hire more paraprofessionals. We may need to see more of them in our classrooms so that we can maybe get rid of the 40% and reduce it at the elementary level, or at least the 20% to a 15% level in the other schools. So in your opinion, do you think that's something that we need to look forward to coming up next year? Or do you think I don't think we'll ever be at a level that we should be at.
I can't commit right now to say that paraprofessionals is the answer. I just can't commit to that. I think that it's a much more complex question than paraprofessionals as the answer.
Through the chair. I'm just curious about staffing. When you had presented some of this, with those ratios, were you able to maintain those same ratios? Because I'm concerned that a lot of our resources are being dedicated to these self-contained, and now the kids in general ed, they don't have the resources they need. And that's the feedback I'm getting, quite frankly.
So we actually did maintain in terms of paras that were in self-contained classrooms prior. I know that I think I'm one short because of a particular need, so we're kind of working on that. I think that the vast majority of the in-class, like the grade 2, 3, the general ed settings, I think that is mostly supported by building-based paras in the past. So,
But what about the other supports besides paras?
Okay. You mean like speech or, yeah, no, those have maintained. I mean, speech is always pretty tight, and some are more demanding than others, and we constantly keep a look at that. But
what is the priority, the self-contained versus the students in
any
general ed?
IEP is a priority.
If you feel that additional paras is not the answer, then what is the answer? That's what I'd be curious to know.
I think as Sandy said earlier, it's ongoing professional development. It's the broadening of skills of both of the gen ed teacher and the special ed teacher, and giving kids as much opportunity as possible to be able to participate in their peer level, grade level classrooms.
It's the high-quality curriculum that we're
Yeah.
implementing in classrooms. It's, again, MTSS. It's the intervention support that we're providing with math interventionists and reading interventionists. So, like I said, I think we're coming at it in many different directions. I don't think there's one easy answer for any of it.
So how do we support them?
How do we support
Special
students,
needs
teachers?
Yeah?
Excuse me, but I have a big heart for special needs people.
As
kids.
do I.
I know we all do, but like Dave asked a very important question, and I want a direct answer. What can this school committee do to address a staggering number at 40%? I think somebody in our education world should be telling this committee exactly what we need. I'm hearing an awful lot about we have great staffs, we got great teachers. Where is the breaking point for an individual? I'm in the construction world, and if somebody asked me that question from roofers to plumbers to electricians, 42 years in my trade, and I know where the breaking point is. Where is the breaking point with a great staff of individuals we have? Where is that?
There's two different questions that we were asked. We were just asked about like regular ed classroom support, and we were talking about special ed before that. So we were just answering the question on regular ed support. So I think like there's some things meshing here. We are supporting to the best of our ability. Like Leslie said, we have how many students in self-contained right now? So those classrooms.
148.
Yeah, those classrooms, we added an extra classroom this year because we saw the need. So those classrooms range anywhere from 6 in some, I think we're down to 10-ish in some, with at least one paraprofessional. So we are supporting those. Hennessy has 10.
Go ahead.
We checked on that today.
Doesn't
I
it,
believe
if
Cape
you
Baptist
have
has 10.
what special needs students in the classroom with, and then other students, but if the teacher's dealing with that, then it's also taken away from those other students. So it's multifaceted, you know.
It is
you know,
definitely
so I'm concerned about all our students.
It is definitely multifaceted, that there's no question about that. And, you know, RIDE has recently released what they are calling their special education blueprint. They released one on MLL, I think it was last year or maybe the year before. And RIDE has recently released the guide for special education and what will be expected. And one of the highlights in this blueprint is that we need to understand and address as a district, as every district will, what they are coining rightful presence, which says essentially every student, disability or not, is a student first. That they have rightful presence in their schools, in their classrooms, with their peers. And that's going to be something that the district is going to have to address as time goes by. We have to flip our mindset that says this IEP, this student, these needs belong in a self-contained setting. But this is a third grader instead, and these are the kind of supports that that third grader needs. It is about righting the ship. Just this week, I've had, in last week, conversations with folks. The student came new to us, didn't know her prior to her arrival here. We need to go through the IEP process as that student participates in their kindergarten classroom, but they need a self-contained setting. That was the first comment. Evaluations were not completed, IEPs not written, just needs to go there. No, every student is rightfully entitled to presence in the grade level classroom, in their schools. So it really is about shifting some mindsets and some thoughts that are deeply embedded, that are very deeply embedded here, that we decide placement before we identify needs. So that's a lot of work that needs to happen too.
That can only happen with the proper supports in place. I agree, but you need those supports.
When you talk about professional development, walk me through the positive impact that's going to have on our students. Like, I had mentioned, you know, additional powers, and you came back with professional development. So can you walk this committee through how that's going to positively impact our students there, please?
I think one of the things that we have done this year is really embedded professional development so that we have supports going into the classroom to work with the teacher on how to implement whatever they need to implement, whether it's a behavior plan or, you know, certain curriculum or, you know, things that are specific to the students in their classroom. And, you know, that has made some meaningful impact. We've also provided supports on, like, believe it or not, like environmental changes, things that are different in the classroom make a huge difference. Years ago, when I first got here, you know, the kids weren't behaving in a particular classroom, and I went in there was so much stuff in there that there was really very little floor space for the kids to walk, so they were walking elsewhere, top of a bookshelf, whatever. And you gotta clear this place out. We have actually, were able to make many purchases with some IDEA funds that we had left over from last year to put calming corners in most, if not all, of the classrooms. And how do they use that? Some software around developing visual schedules, individual visual schedules, and classroom visual schedules. There's not a single answer to the questions that you're asking. As I think somebody used the term, it's so multifaceted that there is no one answer to fix everything. Because we deal with people, we deal also with changes every year. The profile of a group could change substantially from one year to the next. So we need to respond to those changes, sometimes in the moment. Sometimes we can plan for them, and sometimes we can't.
I just want to also bring to the committee's forefront that we passed a budget with no professional development dollars, okay?
Excuse me, I didn't support
Correct.
that budget.
You are correct, Mr.
Okay.
Ferrer, you did not.
Thank you.
So, you know, I guess I'm in the business for kids, and I feel like if you have more students with behavioral IEPs, special education, however you're going to put this in this big circle, and you lessen the staff, or because of budget cuts, or because we have to, or for whatever reason, if you have more students, which is where we're at, it's 83 current kindergartners. We don't know what we're looking at next year. 23% have IEPs. 40% we need to get into the classroom still. How do we continue to do this with less of the staff than we've had previous years? I'm just concerned that our numbers are going up and our staff is going down. And that's, I guess, our job, because my job is not to go into the schools and explain how to teach or how to manage a classroom, but my job is to make sure that we have the ability to fund what needs to be funded in order to have these students be educated the proper way. Like you said, have a place. We took professional development out and we passed the budget. Four of us did, including myself. And we have eliminated certain positions. And we need to figure out how we as a group, and that's why I asked for this to be on here, need to continue to promote inclusive education for our students and to promote just students. I was lucky enough to attend on Saturday, the unified volleyball game, Hope. There wasn't everyone was crying. Every person was crying. The students, the partners, the parents, myself, the mayor. I mean, it was the most emotional. So these are what these students need, and we need to provide it. So that's what I'm trying to get at with adding this. Like, I was on the advisory committee. We haven't met. We had an audit done. The superintendent was determined to do that to see what our shortfalls were. We found out what our shortfalls are. Now we need to figure out how we're going to fund this in order to promote what I assume we all feel sitting here and up there. So I think we need to figure something out, other than say, well, the teachers are happy, the students are happy, and it's a win-win, because it's not a win-win right now, and we need to figure out how we're going to do this. So that's why I brought this to the attention tonight, because again, I am a huge promoter of professional development, which we don't have any money for, and if that's the way that this is gonna work, we're screwed.
That's why we kind of are dependent on that job-embedded professional development right now. You know, sometimes when you get lemons, you have to make lemonade, and so we do try to find ways to work within our means, I guess, is the best way to say that.
And we also have grant-funded some of our professional development the last couple of years. Like, we have brought in Cheryl Cotter and her team for conscious discipline. We have supported the BCBAs through Project Aware. Unfortunately, it is going to be a funding issue, and things are going to be even tighter next year. We've lost, initially we lost $350,000 in federal funding. It looks like by the end of this, we'll be closer to $500,000. It is going to get more and more difficult, and I said this at the budget workshop. We will look for every grant possible. We always do. You know, we write for everything that we can find. It is job-embedded professional development. We have that MLL coach position that we'll use. There's been some categorical funds that the MLL money has helped support regular ed teachers. So we try to get as creative. There isn't necessarily a line item for professional development, but we still are using the coaches that we have in the district and other funding sources to get what we can. It's not always about more people. I think sometimes it's about, you know, better training for everyone. And we're in this push-pull, right? The more self-contained we have, the less funding we have to go into general ed classrooms to provide more resources in there. So it's trying to support everyone with the funding that we do have and trying to get creative in doing that. And again, I've said this a couple times, but it's attacking the issues from multiple different ways.
Jessica, what was that you said about the advisory committee? Can you repeat that again? You had mentioned.
I was on the original advisory committee. I had asked to be put on it, but she just said we're gonna meet in January.
And when was the last time you met?
June? Yeah.
And is that normally how frequently you meet?
Well, it was a summer. I don't think we're gonna ask teachers to come in during the summer.
I just don't understand how it's not a staffing issue as well when the numbers are, you know, you have 1,117 students with IEPs. I mean, staffing's got to be part of that formula, unfortunately. I understand funding's the issue.
No, I'm not saying staffing's not part of it. What I am saying, though, is sometimes the answer is not to put another para, right? Sometimes the answer is to make sure that teachers have the tools that they need, the paras that are already in there have the tools that they need to successfully deal with what they're dealing with in the classroom.
Do they have the tools, Sandy? In other words, if we keep talking about this, we're gonna get somewhere. But what I'm saying, in other words, because I get calls and it's like, Tony, I'm tired. These ideas that are being thrown at us, I'm tired, I can't keep, I need support. I understand what's being thrown at me, but there's just so much being thrown. It's like, once again, I ask a question. When does the human body can't continue to do this? When?
I mean, I think that's the feeling of most, if not all teachers,
And
regardless of
and
what your role is.
administrators.
I'm going to tell you, that's mine.
Yeah.
That is all of our struggle right now.
Is it safe to say that we need more support, more boots on the ground after this professional development is over? Is that a fair assessment?
You know, that's an ongoing assessment. Again, right now, I think we're okay. You know, one of the things that we mentioned, or that Sandy mentioned earlier, the BCBAs, they have been an incredibly valuable asset to the district. Incredibly valuable. Their salary, if we save one out of district tuition, covers their salary for the year. It was in Project Aware. What will happen next? I don't know. I know I myself, through IDEA, when I first started, funded 18 or 19 positions, and with the reduction in IDEA funding, I think I'm down to 12. So those positions had to be absorbed by the general fund. We didn't get rid of the positions. They just had to go elsewhere.
And we've talked about this, but it's really difficult to make it all work, right? We know that everybody needs more or something different, but we're bound by a budget that we have to live by, and we have to make decisions every day about where can we put funding, where do we pull back funding? And like I said, it's this catch, right? The more self-contained we add, the more expensive they add. And then when we have to put students out of district, we're looking at $100,000 per student, right? So the more needs we have, the more expenses we generate. So it is prioritizing and trying to support everyone with what we have, but we can't meet every single need, we just don't have that kind of money to do it. And like I said, we have to continue to look for other sources. We have to continue to apply for the grants that we're applying for. But, I mean, we did multiple budget workshops. You're seeing where our money's going. And again, money is drying up at the federal level. Most of our state and local aid went to just salary increases. And we're going into another contract negotiation with, we're finishing up paras and going into a teacher contract negotiation. So it's, you know, we have a budget that we have to live in while still trying to meet all of the needs that are coming in daily. We're still getting registrations now in November, daily. So it's just, you know, it's getting hotter and hotter, and we talked about that all summer with the budget. So we have to prioritize what we can. And, you know, I get that sometimes people don't like the answer, but
we have to ask the questions, right?
No, I'm not saying.
These are the questions that,
No, I'm not talking
you know,
about,
he's
I'm
getting
getting
these questions,
Yeah.
I'm getting these
Right,
questions, Jess is
but-
getting these questions, so we have to ask them.
Right,
We have
but-
to somehow get to the bottom of this.
We have
I
to,
mean,
but then we have to find more money if we want to fund all these needs. That's,
And that's, and Sandy, you said something very important, I respect that. The state has the money. The nonsense is, it's a state issue, it's a community issue, it's a town issue. Everybody wants to keep it to themselves, because I got a serious problem. I'm an old-time individual. A thug gets to mug an old lady, and the state has well in excess of $100,000, well in excess. That's going back 10 years ago, to incarcerate somebody, because everybody's scared they're gonna mug the old lady. We sit here and you all try to do a great job. We get great staff. There's great teachers throughout the state and the country. But where is the plea to say we need more from the leadership at the top? There's never a cry out. We as a community should be meeting with other communities that want to discuss openly these numbers, and I thank you for these numbers, because that's where we should start to see it. But if 3 and 4 and 5 communities have town hall meetings and say, we have to get this right, we have to, and I understand, Sandy, we're not going to be able to solve everyone. That's not a way of life. Life is never going to be like that. But at 40%, our goal should be each year we should be dropping that down 3, 4, 5%. How much money do we need to drop that 40 down to 35 to 30? We may never get below 30. But when we hear these numbers, and I hear these numbers, there's got to be some kind of road that we should be able to get on with these numbers, and that road we need $600,000 more next year. It's our job, and you guys as head professionals, we have to come up with a plan and say, let's go out and get it. We sit here and we listen to these numbers and we absorb these numbers, and at the end of the day, there's never an answer to the question. There's never a solution to the question. There's never an outcry to let's go meet with state leadership to tell them this is what the true numbers are across Rhode Island. We got some powerhouses up at the State House. Let's start using that. We just talk about it here, we leave it here. We're five hard individuals trying to do a great thing here. But a 40% number is staggering, and I'm still looking for a way to solve this issue because.
And we do meet with the state officials. Like, we have had regular meetings. That's how we got the craft legislation, which is a relief for us. There are other issues. We usually meet before they start their session and, about other legislation that could support the school department. I mean, I've told you this before, but our DCYF residential tuition per student per month is like $9,000. I think we have 10 students out of
11.
11
I
students.
checked before we
All
came.
right. So we
Yeah.
have 11 students that are placed in residential placements by DCYF that cost us $9,000 a month. So almost $100,000 a month goes into paying for those students that are not in our school system, that are placed by DCYF, that we have no say on. We just pay the bill. And so, like.
And Sandy, not to interrupt, but Kraft was the same thing.
Right.
But think about what it took for us to get to a
Right.
place.
Years.
Where that is not, that was overturned.
So-
And thank God it was.
Yeah, so we are working on other levels too. It's not that we're just, like, we are working to change legislation and to bring that to our legislators' attention, that it needs to be changed, but there's all these other things that we're up against. We're hoping for some savings in transportation. When you look, we spend over $7 million a year on transportation. If we weren't paying that, $7 million would do a lot if we could put that money back into our classrooms. So there's all these things that, we are working different angles. We just switched all our private school over to statewide, and we're hoping that that's a cost savings. So we're constantly looking for cost savings that can go back into the classrooms, but I
Rhode
don't.
Island underfunds education compared to Massachusetts, for example.
I know.
Through the chair.
Yep.
A couple of my questions have been touched on, so if I repeat, just skip over. I was hoping maybe we could circle back to Jess's initial question about some of the data that might actually connect with Tony's most recent thoughts. So I'm just curious, you mentioned a lot, like comparing our numbers to national averages. Do you have any statewide averages or neighboring district averages that you could share? Mainly, I'm saying roughly 22% of all of our students have an IEP, with 40% of those students with an IEP are in a self-contained classroom.
So our self-contained is very high in comparison, at the elementary level, in
Statewide.
comparison to statewide. We're also higher statewide. The last I looked, which probably was 6 or 8 months ago, so it's fairly recent, because the data is really in arrears. It's from 22, 23, those national numbers, because it takes time for all of that to catch up. The last I looked, the state was at 17%. And like I said, that was about maybe 6 months ago. I doubt it budged that much since then. In fact, nationally, and those numbers are not available, since COVID, we are seeing an uptrend in numbers.
And overall students with an IEP.
Yep,
So the statewide
not even nationally.
percentage would,
Yeah.
so the 22%, we're still high compared to the 17
Oh,
you're saying.
yes.
Okay. And then I wanted to just kind of like, so there's not much conversation going on a statewide level between districts.
I mean, I don't have it immediately available
There's no statewide peer group, or there's,
for,
sharing resources or ideas, kind of advocation, yeah, like there's, and it's okay if not, I would imagine that there's.
We all have professional organizations that
Yeah.
work with, like, they work at the State House to lobby. So Leslie has a professional organization, we have a superintendent's organization.
Right, and then so are there any, like, I mean, kind of like what, the gist of what I've been hearing and similar thoughts, really, it's, additional professional development, potentially additional para support, potentially increasing the amount of resource teachers to help support self-contained classrooms. And then really, I think where the conversation really came was like the budget. dollars. However, you mentioned you would not commit to increasing the dollars put towards paraprofessionals in the classroom. What would your professional opinion be where we would put more dollars towards?
I think that, again, you kind of put me on the spot in terms of where I think that dollars should be. I think that we may need, actually the caseloads at the high school are very high in comparison to elementary. Some at the middle school are a little bit higher than we'd like to see. Generally speaking, they do increase as kids get older because they're more independent and, you know, don't need the same level of support. But my opinion, again, is to change mindset, you do need that professional development and you need commitment from folks. This, when I came here, I was shocked at the number of self-contained classrooms that are here. Absolutely shocked. Because there are so many. But yet, when we walk around, we see that there's an overwhelming need as well. So, you know, it's a difficult question to answer. I do think that, again, that whole idea of professional development and mindset, people need to learn different ways than the ways that they've known here for whatever number of years.
So would you say that just focusing on the elementary level, that 40% in a self-contained classroom, which is well above the national average of 15?
Well, 15 is overall identification for your entire population. We're at 23.
Not self-contained.
Right.
Do you have those numbers?
I do. I don't have them handy tonight, but I do have them. I think I put them in my original presentation the last time we talked about this, and I presented to the school committee over at City Hall. So if you...
Well, then just going back to, like, would you say that those numbers of students enrolled in a self-contained classroom are just?
I think that we could do a better job of including some of those kids more frequently and more meaningfully.
And then how can we do that?
Again, I'm going to just go back to the same answer.
Professional development.
Yep, and mindset and support.
Smaller classes, I would say.
Smaller
right?
classes, yep.
If we, but part of the issue is this vicious cycle, right? We have more self-contained classes, which means we can't put that money into regular ed classes. And if we could put that money into lowering class size, then we would have more inclusion. So we're stuck in this cycle that we need to find a way to get out of it.
I'm just going to say, I've been a special ed director for almost 25 years, and the most difficult task of a special ed director is to find balance. And it is about acquiring balance. And right now, the ship is tilted in one direction, and we've got to actually tilt the ship a little bit differently. How do you do that? Well, one of the things that Sandy did coming into this school year is we made sure, I think almost in all the schools, that there were open seats left in the K or the 1 or the 2 in each one of those grades, so that it would give the opportunity for the kids to go into and join their kindergarten classmates. So that was one of the things. That's like, it's a baby step. It's a baby step, but that's one thing that happens. You know, teachers have to be ready to receive those students also in their classrooms. And so we've done some inclusion work with particular schools. We need to do more of that. And how do you build quality inclusion opportunities for students with disabilities?
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, we are closing classrooms, right, around the district?
We've had to close regular ed classrooms and open self-contained classes. The number of self-contained classes that we have has increased over the years that I've been here.
How many paras do you have at the pre-K?
I don't have that number handy. And also, just to be clear, not all of pre-K is special education.
Oh, I
So,
understand that.
You know, I don't know what's on the state pre-K side.
I'm sorry. And when we talk about state pre-K, we're underfunded on that. I told you that this summer, that we absorb about at least $500,000 of state pre-K costs that was supposed to be covered by the state. So, and like, we've had to put a special educator in there. They don't cover that, I believe.
So what do we do when we're underfunded by the state? What's the action that we take there?
So I was trying to look up what Tony and Ryan were saying. So according to the state legislator, we were given $4.5 million, not us, the state of Rhode Island, for highly special needs students, when the state of Rhode Island needed 12.3 million, and we were given 4.5 million. So that's what it was at. We were told, you know, it is what it is, but that is from the legislation. That was in 2025. That's part of the blueprint, the special ed blueprint that came out. In the state of Rhode Island, there's 26,000 students who have IEPs.
Jessica, when you talked that fund that you mentioned,
Yeah.
is that the high-cost special education
Yes.
needs?
Yes.
So every fall, we submit a stack of data to RIDE.
Yep.
And there's a threshold that is set, and we gather all the data on the 1,100 students plus that we have, and we have to input this data, and there are some students that are considered high cost, over and beyond, you know, what the districts can support. So that fund then is dispersed through the whole state for these high-cost special education students. And Alex might be able to tell you a little bit better than I, but I think that our reimbursement is somewhere around 500,000, I want to say, was the last one. Do you happen to know? High cost? Yeah.
So that's what, so, you know,
But
all the
it's-
special ed directors brought it to the attention of a total of 12.3 million, and in return, the state of Rhode Island got 4.5 million. So, you know, so obviously, we didn't get what we wanted, and neither did any other district in the state of Rhode Island. So I just wanted to.
If we get 500,000 against what's our total special ed budget?
Yeah.
20 million, maybe? Is it something like that? The whole, yeah, all of the special ed? Oh, I thought it was more than that. I'm just thinking about the pages in the grant and the MOA and all of that.
Then
Yeah.
busing would be separate, I would assume, too.
Yeah, and one of
So-
the things that we did to try and reduce, we've developed a great partnership with the new Strides Academy over here, and I've tried to bring as many students closer, so rather than going out to Warwick Neck at Rhode Island Academy, Rhode Island Alternative Academy, or, you know, someplace that's pretty distant, to bring as many students back to East Providence as possible. It's not only good, you know, fiscally, but it's also good for the students because they're closer to their community, you know, and they have access to the community that way. And they still get those specialized services that they require.
Through the chair, I just have one final comment. I just don't think professional development's the answer, and that's my personal feeling, and that's the feedback I get, and I understand, you know, that's what you're suggesting, but I just don't think that's the answer, personally.
It's just a piece. That is not the whole answer.
No, I get it, but
Yeah.
I just don't think gonna make?
No, but it is a piece, because teachers have asked for that. Teachers have asked for supports on how to deal with different types of students in the classroom. Like, there's a lot of things that we're encountering now as educators that we've never dealt with in the past. And so we have gotten that feedback from a lot of teachers. Can you help us with this? Can we get more information about this on how to support students? It's a small piece of a
No, I understand that,
big
but they also,
problem.
those same teachers are telling us that professional development is not, they want something other than that.
Right, and how many teachers are saying that they want more paras in their class?
No, but we're, like,
No,
every...
this is just
like,
a question.
I get it, but
Those
we
are the
could throw-
questions I'm getting.
Right, but where do you get the money to continue to, and who gets prioritized for getting extra paras? And how many paras is the right amount of paras, right? And, like, it's easy to say, throw more people at it, but if we're not putting skilled people in there that know what to do when they're in that classroom, it isn't going to help solve the problem. So there are definitely a lot of pieces to it, but the solution isn't always...
Is everyone in that building all pushing in and playing their part and helping out in our schools? Is everybody pushing in? And working collaboratively together as support in our classrooms right now?
I'm not sure, I don't know what you...
Everybody
I
in the
don't know what
building,
you're asking
every
me.
teacher, every para, everybody's all in and helping and assisting.
I can't say that, I can't say that. I don't know the answer to that.
Sandy, when you say more skilled, more skills from, does that mean an individual, we gotta train him in different ways?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. So 2 years ago, when we had the COVID money, right, we offered an RBT class, which is a registered behavior technician class. It was a 40-hour class for paraprofessionals to give them more skills on how to support students in the classroom, right? How to support some of these behaviors, how to de-escalate situations. And we had 25 people that took the class.
Did that
So
help us?
it did help, and we had 2 people that took the test and became registered, like, behavior technicians, but we had 23 others that got the skills from that class and learned about different ways to deal with situations. So I think anytime we provide people with more training and more skills, it supports our students better in the classroom. But again, it's one small piece of, like, this giant problem, right? And you have to come at this problem from a lot of different ways.
So not to interrupt you, but we sent them out because we had COVID money.
No, we had somebody come in and train them in the district, yes.
But it costed us money to do that.
It did,
So if we had money, we could continue to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
If
see,
we
my-
had money, we could continue to do a lot of things, including afford more paras or
My
support.
simple answer to this is, like I said, I was very good at kicking the can down the road when I was little. We got $40,000.
comes down to money.
We got $40,000 worth of money that the city's looking for. We've got $40,000 we're gonna approve tonight. I got a really good idea. Let's approve 20, tell them to worry about the can coming their way. See, this isn't a joke to me.
I'm not laughing,
No, but I'm not saying you're laughing. But until we start taking drastic actions going forward.
I agree.
Because this isn't, and these are the drastic actions that
I
I'm
deal
prepared
with
to
it
go with.
every day. I have to
know, and
make
I
decisions
feel for
every
you.
day
But
about
we-
the budget and
But we
what's
have to come together as a
Yeah.
whole unit and say, we need money, how are we gonna get it? We're gonna take it from somebody.
Because next year's gonna be even
It's
worse.
gonna be worse.
It's gonna be
Exactly.
even worse.
Exactly.
And when you don't
And my
have...
kids and teachers aren't gonna
Yep.
suffer when we know it's gonna be worse. As adults sitting up here, we all just agreed, it's gonna be worse. Wow,
Yeah.
isn't this great? The
We're
city
gonna
of
lose
East
more
Providence.
federal money. I'm sure we're gonna lose more federal money.
And we're
I
gonna
mean,
take more, and we're gonna
today-
kick the can further for somebody else to deal with it. I've been saying all along, jokingly with trash, I don't joke. These buildings, we're paying small fortunes to maintain these schools, but technically they belong to the city. So we're working well with the city, maintaining close to $1.75 billion assets of money now. We take a whole bunch of money, we got a really great maintenance staff and a custodian, and so we're working with an entity saying, we're taking taxpayers' money that belongs in an education budget to maintain and support 10 school buildings that the city really owns. I got somewhat of an issue with that, but the flip side is we're having some hard times.
Yeah.
So let's look at it and say, okay, the city, You start paying the water and sewer bill. That's $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month. Let them deal with it. And you say, let's bring in this company and we can supply them with $8,000, $9,000 a month to better train our staff. So our kids get a better education for the next 90 years. We're going round and round.
Yep.
These kids need a better education that's going to support them their entire life, 80, 90 more years. And we're saying, oh, we're going to approve $40,000 for a water and sewer bill, and because we had 2 cops standing up at the top of the hill, and we got kids that aren't getting a good education. It's simple math. Take it where the money is and let them go fight the state. We owe somebody, take it. We all do it with our credit cards. Instead of paying it in full, we pay $40 here. Let's do the same thing. We got a $40,000 credit bill. Let's pay $20,000 of it, and let's see where it happens. Because I love pushing the envelope, and this is an envelope that I'm willing to push for my staff, my teachers, and all of our kids in this district. This is becoming a joke year after year after year after year after year. There's money out there. We don't have the cojones to go jack it. I do. And I'm just about done. It's sad. It's sad. It's actually sad. My teacher they call me and say, we're tired. I hate to hear people tired, because I thank God every day. I really don't get tired, because I love what I do. My teachers love what they do, but they're getting tired, and that concerns me. When my people that I pay and stuff get tired, I'm like, boy, I'm not going to make as much money, because they're getting tired. It's wearing on them. It's affecting their professionalism, and we want to talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, well, we talk
Thanks.
about it. Let's see what we're gonna do. I support taking $40,000 from the bills we're gonna pay tonight. 10, 20.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Tony, just a question, because I'm curious. The folks that are reaching out to you, saying that they're tired and expressing that they're feeling burnout, are they saying that that is because of lack of tools to use, or like, which could be professional development, or are they expressing that feeling of tired because of a lack of like a physical presence support?
No, like when I talk to them, it's like, are you tired? It's like mindset, like they're focusing so much on how do I, this is a level 4. How do I get it to level 5? As a professional, I can't get there. I might need a little training here. That's why I asked Sandy, when that program worked, it's a money issue. We could bring them people back in and say to 8, 10, 12 teachers per month, we can send you to this 40-hour class. It might take 2 or 3 months. But to me, that's a major step, working with the staff, taking that where they get tired and frustrated away from them and get results. It might take us this entire year to do 40 or 50 teachers. Sandy would know that better. But we can't do none of this without money except talk about it back and forth. The game has to stop and say, talking is over with. We have to get money. That's the goal there. Get it. Nobody's going to give it to us. Let's take it and see what happens to it. What's the most that's going to happen to us? We might not get away with it the second time, but let's see what happens to it when we do it the first time. What is wrong with that? Is it wrong? It is wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it. But when you get these phone calls, and we all know by the numbers, we could be doing a better job, except we don't got money. But we're gonna approve $40,000 to the city tonight. I'm not.
One more quick one, Dave, sorry. Dr. Ferrand.
Wait, before you go, does anyone have any other questions for Leslie, or is she, can we?
I just
She's
have.
just standing at the podium.
Well, yeah, I just have one question, and it could go either way. I kept hearing tonight, like, change our way, rethink how we do things, change our mindset. These are the teachers, the educators in the classroom. Does that start with leadership? Who's going to start the change? Who's going to help these educators change their mindset? And how are we going to do that? So I guess it's a both question. How are we going to help these teachers rethink how we do things, and how are we going to do that?
It is leadership, not just at the district level, but at the building level, and then even peer level. You know, it can't be a top-down, because you can't change people's minds from outside. My experience has been the best way to get someone to see something differently is to show them and to prove it. So one of the things that we will be doing, we have some really amazing teachers that we want to bring other educators in to see their classrooms, to really experience their classrooms. You know, so like peer-to-peer is really powerful. That's one of the ideas that we have with that. Working with principals, I know that Lisa and Lindsay and Sandy do a lot of work with the principals. It's a total shift of the ship, not just a certain group of people. You're welcome.
Thank you, Leslie. Ryan, whatever question you have.
My question is really for Dr. Fernandez. It doesn't have to be answered this evening at any time. Perhaps I would appreciate if you could put together a cost. We're talking about, you know, resource dollars, and I know the budget's completed, so I don't want to, you know, but if there are, you know, over the next couple of weeks, perhaps working with Ms. Anderson, coming up with, hey, like these professional development opportunities would be extremely beneficial, or these other resources that we could implement into the classroom would be beneficial, and just putting a ballpark dollar amount next to that. So we have something tangible to discuss when we're talking about we need more money. We can actually, you know, see, hey, we need X amount of dollars more.
Next item. Oh, facilities update, sorry.
Good evening. The Waddington Drainage Project has wrapped up. Paving took place on October 25th. Loam arrived on the 24th and 27th, and it was hydroseeded on the 28th. Access to the area is now restored. A maintenance plan for the new drainage lines is being put in place to avoid any issues with future clogs. I worked in conjunction with the city DPW to repair 2 asphalt areas of concern in the back parent drop-off area. The wiring of the heaters for the hot box out front was completed on Wednesday, October 29th. Additional emergency buttons were wired in the library. On Saturday and Sunday, November 1st and 2nd, ironworkers and Aid for Mobility installed the handicap wheelchair lifts. Plumbing valve replacement was done on Monday, November 3rd to replace some defective products. Ongoing warranty items are continually being documented and addressed by Shawmut in the district. And Shawmut will be on site on November 24th to finish up the handicap lifts. Wiring, I should say. Hennessy paving was finished on October 18th. Painting was completed the following Saturday, the 25th. We added a gate from the teacher's lot into the playground area for easier access from the pavement versus the entry into the new grass area. I'm working in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club to plant fruit trees along Mercer Street as part of a grant project they received. Trees will also be added to Riverside Middle School and Orlo as part of the project. Riverside Middle School teacher's lot is up next for paving. The project is to start this week. We're looking to get this done before the winter plant shuts down. This will also make the lot a lot safer and easier to plow in the coming months. Projects slated to take place in the springtime prior to the June 30th deadline include Myron Francis sidewalks along the building. Orlo will be getting poured concrete sidewalks and granite curbing on Blanche Avenue and concrete sidewalks in conjunction with the DPW and Ken Heights playground area. Building management system work continues around the district and with the installation of wiring, valves, and controls. Management of the areas and time has been crucial to keep this moving along smoothly. I'm currently working on gathering all the information needed for approvals, permits, and specifications to get the Wandor project in motion for this coming winter. Doors are on order, permits have been submitted, and materials are to be ordered. Signet is figuring 2 weeks between wiring and program for their work timeline. Depending on when I receive the doors, I got a confirmation date of December 12th. I am hoping to have this installed by February vacation. Martin Middle School logistics for the move to the new building are in progress. Furniture is being placed in classrooms and items are being moved over for the transition. Final touches are being done around the building to be handed over. Phase 2 will begin soon after with abatement of the existing building, and the ribbon cutting is November 25th at 10 a.m. and the official opening for students is December 1st. District fire extinguisher inspections took place the week of October 27th. Seasonal operations are underway with leaf cleanup and snowplow preparation. Radar inspections are to take place December 1st through 3rd. And a new dishwasher for Waddington is expected before Christmas from Singer Kittredge and to be installed over Christmas break. That's all.
Danny, just to confirm, you will have access to the old Martin Middle School after December 1st, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Danny, just a couple of questions. Can you let us know when we're gonna get the doors on the metal building?
Yeah, they're on order right now. They are expected 4 to 6 weeks, so.
4 to 6 days?
4 to 6 weeks for
Those
manufacturing.
doors been ordered for 4 months?
No, they got ordered after
They didn't-
November 1st budget.
Oh, so they didn't get ordered, but they were supposed to be ordered?
Yeah, they got held because of the budget.
I held it till November 1st because of the budget. So I did not authorize ordering those doors until November 1st because of the budget situation we were in. So it's 4 to 6 weeks from then.
So it was ordered on the 1st?
Yeah, we ordered it as soon
Yeah,
as
the
the new
order's already
budget
in.
came into place.
All right, I have no more questions tonight then, if that's the way we want to deal with things. I just, because sometimes I feel like a teacher, sometimes it's me. But I know we talked about the doors being ordered 2 months ago. I'll pull the records. If they were held because of Sandy, you want to hold them, I would like that, but just if you let us know that.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
we
Because I'm
said-
getting calls now,
didn't
why
know
we
that.
got a metal building that's been out there for a year without doors on it.
Right, 'cause we-
And I keep telling them, they're ordered, Tony, you should know better, they can't be ordered, you've been doing, what takes 4 months to get doors? And I'm believing they're ordered, because Danny mentioned they were ordered before at this podium, and then you tell them don't order them, and I respect that. Just not knowing, I can't be telling the public one thing based on what we hear here, and then there's something else. I don't have a problem with what we do sometimes. It's just not knowing is the issue. So Danny, no fault to yours, it's just that I kind of relay, when people ask me questions, they see that, with no doors, I said, I'll put it at the next agenda for the meeting. The next question I have is, and I am a little razzle, so I'll go easy, but, do we have a date like where we're gonna do that parking lot? When you say buy the asphalt, is the company doing it? Did they say they're coming on this date to do it, or is that just gonna get abused? We're gonna get abused? Nope, nothing to you, like what they did at Orlo, and just arrive when they want to arrive.
No, so they're coming possibly Thursday of this week
All
to
right,
start ripping
so
it
the
up.
teachers are on a,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I've
For them
already
couple
talked with the
days and they got
principal.
away. So that would work out excellent, weather permitting and stuff, so that worked out well on that there.
Yeah, there will be parking in the city lot in the back temporarily.
All right, and then they got next week because, we'll be in good shape for them
yeah,
to be
with
doing
the-
that. All right, excellent.
Exactly.
All right. And, Danny, I think that's about it, buddy. I think, I lost my train of thoughts based on the meeting we had, so I want to thank you. And like I said, with that, no, I'm just going to I'll bring that up at the end so I can make a statement.
Danny, one more
Thank you.
question. Have we provided the public with the new traffic flow, how things are going to flow through Martin, as far as buses and drop-offs and stuff like that?
So we're still working in conjunction with the city and Shawmut to get the signage up. So once they get that all up, we'll be providing the flyers door to door and on social media.
Do you have an
media.
anticipated date? Or is that, are you like in a
I
holding
think we're
pattern with the
shooting
city?
for this
I have
coming
the
week.
signs ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's just for the neighbors. The communication has gone out to families at Martin, I believe, that the traffic pattern was changing in the family newsletter.
Can we
Is
get
that
that?
correct?
Did we get that?
I don't know if you got it. I think it was in the family newsletter, I believe. No?
remember seeing it, but it could have been.
I
don't always scroll all the way.
All
I
right.
just meant us as a committee. Did
Yeah,
we
I
get
can
that?
send it to you, but we have the signs that are all set to go out that say that the one-way is shifting the opposite direction.
Because I would think that like they would, want advance notice, right? Even if we did it a week in advance to
Yeah.
kind of just iron out the kinks, right?
Well, we can't flip it until we open the new building because of the drop-off points. So December 1st is when the one-way flips and when the traffic pattern changes.
So
So
the
there'll be an
yeah,
increased presence there
Could
on
we also
December 1st.
ask anybody to put it in the newspaper, just just,
In
you
the
know.
post?
Yeah, put it in the
wouldn't hurt.
post or in the reporter,
Put it in
you
the
know.
Post Reporter, and then, like,
The
if
more
there's something
places you
that we
can
could
spread
share on social media,
awareness, the
too.
better.
Yeah, we
School
have,
website.
yeah, I'll check to see, I'll ask, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
I thought it went out to parents, but I can't say
If it
for
did, I
sure.
didn't see it.
Okay.
I just want to know if we can get it as a committee, if we can get that sent.
Yep.
And then if there's something that we could, I think, to Jess's point, obviously the papers, I think, is great, but something that we could all circulate on social media as well to get the word out. Thank you, Danny.
And then just so
Oh,
Dave, so I can follow up on that, and Sandy maybe can help us. So is the city gonna put, no, right, once we get the new map and everything like that, if you could email us that tomorrow, it'd be great. But is the city planning on doing this? Like
Yeah.
Friday's our last day, so are they gonna do it next week for us, do you know?
Yeah, so Shawmut is gonna put up the signs in conjunction with the city. They've been working with Eric Skadberg Engineering and for placement of signs, and they're gonna be putting it up
Because I think it'd be
right
great to do
right
it.
before the switch.
Yeah, like to do it from, you know, the money, then the public has that whole week, you know, so like where we did the one where you put the stop sign, then you
Yeah.
couldn't proceed from 7:30
Right.
to 8. Instead of waiting till Monday morning to hit everybody with that, I think it would be great to put that up a week in advance.
Yeah, it'll-
So, you know, on that, I think
They'll be
that'd
working on it all over the Thanksgiving break
It's just
Yeah,
All right, Danny.
to switch it over.
Yeah, the problem is it won't flip. The one-way won't flip until that day. So like where we made it a one-way at the start of the school year last year, it was
Yeah.
okay because it was going to be like that. But this, we need it the one-way, the way it's going right now until December 1st when we open, because we will be closing the entrance that we currently use for students and opening the new entrance that we're going to be using for students on December 1st. So we won't be able to flip the one-way until the day we open the new school. Because the whole drop-off pattern changes on that day, is what so we can give people flyers and stuff, we can advertise the traffic plan, but we can't make the flip until we open the new entrance and we close the old entrance. Because right now they get dropped off near Valley Brook.
When's the last day of school?
The last day of school will be the day
Tuesday.
before Thanksgiving.
Right.
The Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So, and it's, the one-way's only there when school's in session. So, I mean, the signs will go up as soon as possible, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
flip
saying,
won't
like, 'cause-
really happen
'cause I
until
know
that
the
day.
right, the left side of Brown Street, you know, we got the gentleman that parks his trailer there.
Yes.
His van, you know,
That's
he
gonna
won't
be
be able
no
to park.
parking.
That's what I'm saying,
Right.
so I
The
mean,
city's putting up, they're doing an ordinance for us, like,
Right.
to get no
Are they
parking
passing that ordinance tonight?
from, I don't know,
From,
Eric and Dan were handling.
The corner of Bliss and
Dan's-
Bright Ridge to Grassmere.
Yeah, will be no parking. And that will be the
So it's
drop-off
roughly,
point. It's a
80
short
feet?
stretch, two houses
Yeah.
there won't be able to park, but that is where they park.
yeah, that's what he parked, that's
It
what I'm
is
saying,
where
like
he
the trailer, you know,
parks.
to see if he
He'll-
can hit on it. That's,
he'll have to
the
go
more
around
notice
the
we could give him,
corner.
the better off
Yeah,
that would be, you know?
we're gonna put those flyers out. We had worked on those flyers, so I actually printed them out. I started to print today.
All
And
right.
Got those,
Yeah,
I
so
So
think,
we
this
can
week.
Email that
deliver
to us.
tomorrow.
And like I said, we could put that out on social media and circulate it that way as well.
Yeah.
Danny, thank you. Like, finance report, finance update?
Good evening. Okay.
So it was sent out in the newsletter already, and we'll continue to send it out, and I'll give you that so you can post it on your social media.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening. So just to remind you, we're still closing out the fiscal year for FY25. So what we have is just for to date. There's still, as we go through the line items, I'll let you know what we're still closing out, what I feel is final numbers. For the 5,000 series, for salaries, you'll see we have a little bit of a remaining balance there. I believe that'll stay. We're still just reconciling some of the grants to make sure that is 100% accurate there. As for the substitutes, I did just want to point out that where we ended up closing out, almost $750,000 over budget. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. We budgeted, I believe, 1.4 for FY '26, and so we were still over there. A lot of it is due to leave of absences, medical leave. So it's out of our control, but hopefully, just letting you know that's where we're at. For the most part, everything in the 5100 series is pretty solid. I only expect to see adjustments if RIDE or at some point while we get into the audit, we might have to make adjustments if they make us, if they request us to. Down to the 5200 series, for health, I feel pretty strongly about that. We did pretty well. I did want to remind you that the retiree benefits are also rolled in there, and the same is true also for dental as well. There will be some adjustments because we're still collecting the co-pays for retirees, so I expect the number to go down a little bit as well. As for, you'll also see 52,122 and 52,125. Again, those are our retiree. So those budget lines, you'll see that there's been nothing expended there, but that's because it's in the overall health and dental line. For the most part, the 5200 series I feel is okay. You can see we have a surplus there. Moving on to the 5300, we're still collecting final numbers for a lot of these items here. I am a bit concerned. It is probably going to go up another 200,000 as we start collecting some of these things. Something to note is the legal expenses. It is a bit over budget there, and I expect this amount for the upcoming FY '26 as well. Another thing I wanted to note is 53,403. You'll see there that we didn't expend anything for the 101 healthcare providers, and that's just because we've actually broken them out up at the top for 53,206 and the psychologist there. So typically those would get rolled in together, but we decided to break them out per the RIDE guidelines. Moving on to 5400. Those are pretty solid. I don't expect any additional invoices. If they do come in, I don't expect them to be of significant values, probably small expenses that are still rolling in. As for the 5500 series, transportation, we're still waiting on a lot of the state transportation invoices, and those are expected to be of another 300,000 there. However, I do feel like we will be, at the very least, on budget for transportation. The other line items in the 5500 series, for example, out of in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition, we're still waiting, and as well as for private, we're still waiting on a lot of those. Those are DCYF invoices that we don't expect to get until probably sometime in December. I am keeping a close eye for it now. I feel like we might be at exactly at the 4.5 million, but it could be possibly a bit over. So I'm keeping an eye out there, but that's the 5500 series. I do want to flag that is particularly, there's a lot of pending invoices, and those are just coming in as they normally do. Moving on for the 5600 series, the supplies I feel are solid. I don't expect there to be any additional expenses there. I do want to flag that for the utility bills, electricity, and our gas bills, we're still collecting some of those invoices there. We keep getting a lot of estimated bills, so we've been going back and forth with Rhode Island Energy to see if we can get our meters tested. And so I expect those to get closed out, hopefully by December. Where I am keeping an eye on that there too, but I do expect that we will go over for electricity. Moving on to the 5700 series, I don't have anything of significant to know. I believe that those are closed out as of to date. Down and below 5800 series, again, nothing super significant has come up to date. And for the revenue section and portion, I do expect still there to be some Medicaid reimbursement to come in, as well as the TIAA reimbursement to come in. Those are the only two that I have pending right now. Right now, we're okay, but I am just a little bit concerned about our out-of-state district, and if there's any other expenses that we might get for the 5300 series. But I will let you know as those go on throughout the year. Is there any questions?
I just had a question. We don't have a separate line item for, in transportation for the McKinney Venmo?
No, they're all rolled in together. We can.
Into what? Into
can-
transportation in general, or?
I'm sorry.
Is it all rolled into,
It's all rolled into the larger transportation
The
line.
larger, okay.
Yeah, I could get you a report for a drill down version if you need it.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Year end.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Jess? No. All right.
Dave, I have two questions, if you could follow up.
Yep.
And everybody stay relaxed about this. The conversation we had with the 400,000, that it might have jumped to 700,000, put that aside. You're stating that we're in okay shape right now, and as a little time goes further, you'll be able to update us, say within the next 30 days, we'll be able to confidently say we're good or bad?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. It'll still be, so when I do the report for next month, it'll have the new fiscal year, but there'll still be the current, this FY '26 on the side, so I can report on both.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Yep.
Next item.
Building committee report?
So over at Martin Middle School, the final preparations are underway for staff and students to begin the new building on December 1st. We have passed all inspections and keys are being turned over. Furniture and fixtures continue to be installed. Building flush is taking place currently to regulate heat and airflow from 11:10 to 11:24 in the building. The gym scoreboards came in early and they were installed on 11:13 and 14. Landscaping is ongoing with hydroseed, loam, and plantings. The auditorium work continues on track for May, June 26 timeline. Training has all been completed, and Phase 2 demolition and abatement will be started next month. The graphics that had bubbling issues in the building are being replaced with a better product that has shown no signs of issues. The current one-way traffic flow from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. will reverse direction starting December 1st. Please be aware flyers and notifications will be sent out via Parent Square, social media pages by the city and the police department. Over at Waddington, handicap accessible lifts were installed, site drainage improvements were completed. Monitoring of the area is ongoing. The slab of the building will be moisture tested multiple times as discussed at the last building committee meeting to see how the drainage has helped the previous water situation as the seasons progress. Warranty items are being addressed by Shawmut and the district as they pop up and documented. Any questions?
Danny, is there any leftover materials at Waddington that are just outside hanging around? And if so, is there a plan in place by Shawmut to get that off of the premises?
Yes, so we have a couple pallets of bricks that Shawmut left us for the outside, so we're just trying to find storage at the moment. We're very low on storage with the,
That's Oz?
those are Oz, yeah.
Okay.
So we're finding space as we go. We just got 2 Connex boxes delivered today over at the admin building, a 40-footer and a 20-footer to accept some of the pre-K stuff out of Martin. So it's preferred space at this point, so it's move one thing to put another in its place.
Thank you.
Can I just add to, as far as the Martin project, we had a certificate of CTO, temporary
certificate of
occupancy,
occupancy.
came in on Friday. So teachers were allowed to enter the building starting on Monday, so they are starting to unpack their boxes into their classrooms. We'll be opening the building for them this Saturday and next Saturday if they want to get in to
Wednesday.
unpack. What?
Wednesday.
Oh, and Wednesday.
Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Wednesday. So we'll be opening the building for them if they want to get in to do any unpacking or setting up of their classrooms. So, they're using their time this week to get in there. I was over there Monday and I bumped into a lot of them in the new building, and it's just beautiful, and it's going to be great for students. There'll be an article coming out in the Post on Thursday, and as Danny said, the ribbon cutting is on Tuesday. And as boxes are packed, we're moving those over so they can have time to unpack them.
And again, Danny, just to reaffirm, yourself, Patrick, you guys will have access to the old Martin Middle School after December 1st.
Correct.
If anything needs to be removed out of there or repurposed, you guys have that access to that.
Yep, so Charlotte will start an abatement right after the new school opens. We will have time to go in there and basically
Perfect.
salvage anything we want to take out. So we'll have at minimum a month.
Perfect.
Because once the abatement starts, no one can enter, correct?
Right. They're going to want to go hard with abatement on the first floor common areas. So we're going to work our way down from the top, so.
Perfect.
Try to get out.
Any other questions for Danny?
Through the chair?
Yep.
I don't have a question, but at the building committee meeting last Monday?
Yes.
Yes. Through the walkthrough and then having a meeting, the new Martin Middle School has a room in the office, which is pantry slash, what is it called? Pantry slash,
Clothing, it's food
Thank you.
slash clothing pantry.
okay, so it's like a place where you can go and get stuff if you need it. Shawmut made an announcement that they will be filling that room up for us while the school opens with toiletries and anything else that a student may need. I think we need to give them a huge shout out because they went above and beyond, don't need to do it. But in the situation of, pantry and food and necessities going around the world right now, that's just a huge plus in our spot that we have a place for students to go and they can get what they need. So I would like to just thank them for doing that for us.
They're also supplying all the clay and stuff to start with the ceramics classroom.
You have a combination of WB Mason and Shawmut.
Yep.
They're working to supply our clay for the new
For the
kiln.
new kiln.
Yep.
That's pretty cool to look at as well. So, thank you.
Go ahead, Tony.
Danny, I just got a question, where we differ a little bit. Can we, how do I put it? Can we just clean up Waddington? And I'll give you a quick synopsis on what the calls that I get on a daily basis. I know it's not just the the 3 pallets of bricks. It's the metal shelving stacked on top of there. It's the three blue barrels, the 5-gallon, chemical treatment that's there. Then if you can let me know if they cleaned up, they changed the railing out like 3 weeks ago. They left the railing along the wall.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
box of trash.
we have plans to get it all out of there. Right
You know what
now,
I'm
it's
saying?
just inundated
I
with
know,
mud.
I know we're backed up, you know what I'm saying? But those are the type of things, Danny, that if we can just try to get on track of as soon as possible, so when the teachers go there, they see change, you know what I'm saying? They know the building's relatively done,
Right.
$22 million later, but that's the stuff that they see every day, that they consider it their school. Mr. Fred, can we get our school back? I said, we'll bring it up, and we got a lot of other things pressing it. But as far as the bricks, we'll just throw them behind the administration building. It's only administration. You know what I'm saying? We'll just stick it behind that building. You know what I'm saying? But if we can get them out of there,
Yeah,
clean them schools
over the
back
past
up.
couple of weeks, we've been working over the administration building, clearing out, all the storage area, trying to get rid of old tables
Yes,
and
yep.
things that would not been sitting around, books, things like that, to make space for these
Because
areas.
we're gonna have stuff left from.
So we're trying to move
Monty
some
coming
stuff over
yep.
here into the garage with the machinery and things like that.
Nice,
So we're trying to make space.
all right. And Danny, feel free to throw stuff away, because I know there's probably stuff in the administration building or the old vocational school that came from the old high school.
Yeah.
If you look deep, because I know when we were wrecking the old high school.
Martin's
there was
been
stuff-
doing a good job of throwing some stuff away.
Exactly,
so.
yeah, just throw it all away, give it to the public, put a free sign on it for scrappers and stuff like that, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Next item.
Discussion action items, update on Martin Middle School graphics, Mr. Ferrara.
I could have well, Sandy, can we just have a follow-up on what we're gonna change all them graphics in that building, just?
Yeah, so, I got it, Danny.
I'm sorry,
So there was a
Danny.
lot of bubbling on some of the graphics, and Shawmut actually pointed it to pointed out to us on the walkthrough, they were not satisfied. So they're taking it all down, and there was a different product they used on some of the graphics that was fine. So they're gonna switch it.
So we know when they're gonna do that?
I think it's in, okay, it's in progress.
It's a product called 3M Control Tech.
Yeah.
Versus a product called Dreamscape, which had the issue.
Yeah.
So Sunshine Sign is going to install the Control Tech, and they've done one section where
Yeah.
it shows create on the school, and it has not bubbled.
Good shape. So they're gonna,
It's a thicker product.
we're gonna do the whole building?
So they're
Yes,
gonna change
anywhere where it bubbled, anywhere where we use that product, they're gonna switch it to the other
But
product.
that's what I'm saying, like wherever
Yeah.
that product, they know exactly. So,
Yeah.
so 6 months from now, we don't have an issue with that?
No, they're changing all of that
Excellent.
out.
All right. Thank you, Danny. Thank you.
Next item.
Consider a vote to approve the repair on the high school track, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, to Tony's point earlier, you know, you had said that we do a lot of talking, and I feel like we've done a lot of talking on this track, so I think it's just time for this committee to decide one way or the other on what we're gonna do, and if we wanna go forward with the track. Danny had sent some emails over. I don't know, Danny, if you wanna come to the podium, just in case anyone has any questions, but short of that, I'm ready to take the vote.
So I do have a question. At our last meeting, Mr. Farrar said that he would like it on the agenda, but to make sure that legal looked at it beforehand. So my question is, did legal look at whatever needed to be looked at, and do we have a legal opinion before we move forward?
We do, and I believe I forwarded it. Forwarded that email.
Yeah,
You did
Yeah,
receive
just,
that.
there's nobody involved with any of
I
that,
didn't
so,
get that one. So thank you.
right now, we're kind
That's all I
of
needed.
on our own. So,
Okay.
I would say, Danny, the way that we were discussing going would be the way to go. I think it's, the only way we could go, it's gonna take care of it. I feel comfortable with the right, adhesive caulking, we're gonna get 8, 9 years out of it. The lifespan of a high-tech one is 10. So I think if we do it sooner rather than later, it's gonna be, somebody else's issue to maintain it 7 or 8 years down the road. And I think, nobody's ever gonna notice it, but we're gonna fix, Band-Aid it at 98%.
Yeah, right, so
Yeah.
it's a help, right? So if you have any movement, it's gonna let it move versus cracking. So your biggest cost is the saw cut it. You're talking almost $8,000 just to saw cut it. The problem is it's gotta be done in the summertime because of the water. So he's gonna have to run a wet saw on there, you're gonna have to fall behind with a power washer and a wet vac to suck up the slurry basically that it's gonna create, or it's gonna stain the track. That's the problem, because it's black asphalt underneath there that it'll be cutting. So you don't want any of that to stain the track, so you're gonna need somebody right there to suck it up. Plus, with the, whatever we end up using as a silicone or something like that, you wanna be above 40 degrees in general, just for adhesion and drying. Plus, just when you get the spring, you're gonna have spring sports out there and things like that, that's just gonna kinda fall in at that point.
So what would be a realistic time frame? Do you think? May, June?
June, yeah, right when school ends would be perfect.
All right, Danny, so, if we could get some, well, now, he'll hold that number, Dennis will hold that number into June. I think
Yeah.
I don't want, I won't say what I say when I see him in person. He's a great guy. He'll hold the number for us.
Yeah, everything
on
else
that.
can be purchased locally, like contractor supply
All right,
for
that-
silicone or, the foam that you, I'm having a.
Yeah, the question that I have, in that
Expansion foam.
contract, it said we're gonna supply 2 guys to do the labor and work.
Right, so when we had Cut-Right come, that was what I was saying about the
Yes.
power wash and the vacuum behind them. So they are just doing the saw cutting. Any labor associated with it is on my guys.
All right, the question I have, I'll go 50-50 on this one. I'll support our guys taking care of the slurry and stuff on there, but our guys, you're planning on our guys doing the caulk in there?
The caulking, yeah. I was planning on using a poured silicone product.
Yeah.
So where you put the backer rod in, so if you had something that you could create to just pour it in the crack and it's kind of self-levels, almost like a kind of sort of floor filler. So they have some roofing products that will work, things like that. That's a pourable silicone. That way, as repair, like you said, if it ever does crack apart,
Yes,
you can just pour more in there and it self-seals.
All right, well, I'm going to support this with the exception that me and you can talk about our guys doing that. I mean, I'd like to see what it would cost for a company to come in and do that, versus our guys. My argument with that is, our guys, for some reason, we never gave them the opportunity to start fixing the sidewalks at Riverside, because it's gonna be the same, I would say use that same caulk in that same field as we did with all the sidewalks.
Yep.
Same as what Shawmut's
Same
using
type of
down there.
product, yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same stuff, it's just
That's what I'm
pourable.
saying. In other
Yeah.
words, so
It's a little more flexible.
I'm a little concerned about our guys that never really did that, going on $1 million track doing it.
Right. So the main point originally was legal, right? We were looking who's.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at appearance-wise and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That
Right,
stuff
so
is-
it would create basically like a 1-inch white line on the inside of the track.
I understand it if it's done in a professional manner. I want to make sure our guys can deal with it.
Right.
And we'll talk about it when the time comes, but I'm going to support this because we definitely got to get that sealed this coming summer.
It's gotta
I
be
wish we
done.
could get it done before the winter,
Right.
but we won't. But thank you for doing a follow-up on that there, but we'll talk a little more about it, but I think we're going to be voting on it tonight.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions for Danny? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to pass.
I'll make a motion to approve the track repair.
Is there
I'll
a s-
second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next
Consi-
item.
Consider a vote to approve athletic trainer's contract.
So our athletic trainer moved from Highbar to University Orthopedics. We drafted a new contract with University Orthopedics. It's been reviewed by legal. We actually were able to move her salary into a grant for this year. So that also helped. But it's been reviewed by both their legal and our legal.
I will entertain a motion.
Through the chair,
No.
can I just ask, I just want to ask that we're going to maintain the same services we're able to. Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the athletic trainer's contract.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Consider a vote to approve EPEA cost share grievance and proposed resolution.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Tony. Next item.
Consider a vote to approve non-certified employee termination.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the termination.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Announcements?
I do not have any announcements. Does anyone? Nope. Yeah, there was no public comments this evening, just so you guys know.
Steve, I just have a statement that I want to make. I just want to thank every teacher and staff that was at Martin for the last couple of years. I had the pleasure and a good time working with our team last week, moving a couple hundred boxes from House C. But as I traveled that building, it was an eyesore. It was, I used the word, a horrible place to have to enter on a daily basis to educate our kids. But our teachers did it for, I think, the last 2-3 years in a professional manner. And I'm just so glad that they have a beautiful building right next door that they're going to be entering in the next couple of weeks, December 1st. So I know a lot of them may have not, or the public, and I'll be talking at the next meeting about if we can open that up, Dave, to let the public see that building, because over my career, I've been in a lot of high-tech restaurants, buildings and stuff. Extremely proud of the kitchen. I got a big smile. The kitchen is stunning. It's one of the nicest kitchens that I've been in my career, over 42 years. The kitchen at Martin is something that I want the public to see. It's something that this community's got to be proud about. The whole building is going to be quite the learning experience. It's going to take a while to navigate the building. And I want to thank Shawman as well as, Jess did. They did a great job over there. I had to approach them with a couple of minor issues the neighbors called up over the last couple of weeks. Within minutes, they stopped what they were doing. Somebody addressed it, the fallen stop sign, stuff like that. So the city's really fortunate that the taxpayers approved that bond, and we have to do right for the next 50, 60, 70 years with that building, because it's something to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item. Well, actually, I'll just entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.